You comfy, all right?
Yeah. I think so. G'day, people. It's Chili here from Live Listen Erased, and we have a special guest for this special episode. I have here Woz.
Hello, how are you?
It's good to see you on this episode, and of course, this is the episode of Live Listen Erased where we pick 3 bands for a list, and these 3 bands have to be chosen in selection in regards to being erased. One gets to be played live once only, and then never listened to again. And the third one, you can listen to all their studio albums forever, but you never get to see them live. So we've brought Woz out. We've also got Doz, of course. God, that's going to be some tongue catching there. But
Woz and Doz.
Woz and Doz.
Yeah, I've got a question.
For sure.
Who the fuck's Woz and where's our special guest?
Come on now.
Yeah, I can get he's the man that needs no introduction.
He is.
Yeah.
In regards to this. So, yeah, it wasn't Doz, eh? Tongue twister. I never thought about
Could be
that.
Wozzer and...
Wozzer, yeah, Dozzer.
Dozzer.
He's making it
Wozzer,
justice.
Doz.
It's just an extra syllable
It's
to make it.
Australian,
Chili,
isn't it?
Wozzer and Doz.
It's not
Yeah,
Australian to make things longer when it comes to names.
Yeah, it sounds like a Mexican meal or something, doesn't it?
yeah.
I'll have
Not an
I'll have a
appetizer.
Wozzer, Doz.
I'll have a Wozzer Doz with a
Yeah,
chili.
yeah. So yeah, just because you don't seem to think it's relevant. Woz is your father.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a proximate cause for all of this pain and suffering.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, just joking. But no, Woz has his own his CD collection is separately insured. Is that well back in when it was worth something.
Yeah,
When it was
these days.
yeah, for sure.
These days,
Not much of a
as
premium.
I think I probably said last episode, when you rent your music now through
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
the
you do. Yeah, it's
subscription list, or it's one of the playlists, and so yeah, I guess 90% of what I've got on CD is available through those.
Yeah.
I do have some CDs which
Yeah.
you just can't for
There's
various
some live
reasons.
ones,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
bootlegs as
Yeah,
well, I
bootlegs
guess. Not-
and,
sorry, not those ones.
Yeah.
But
I remember having to order a CD, like a Black Sabbath album from HMV, and waiting like 8 weeks for it to come from London.
I know, right?
Like, yeah,
And then you would get it, and then you'd be like, "Hey, you got to listen to this."
yeah,
And that was the introduction, of course, of
Yeah.
Diamond Head.
yeah.
You know, all those other bands that we got into.
But-
Motorhead, Black Sabbath. Thank you for getting that job, by the way, and then ordering a whole bunch.
Yeah, job. Yeah, I worked so you didn't have to. Yeah. I the amount of work I did for that $5.50 an hour. Jeez. Yeah.
Oh, well, I have to say before we start this whole episode, cheers, boys. It's good to see you all here. And thank you for coming along to this episode, this very special episode indeed.
Making the trip upstairs was thanks for that.
Alright, so, Woz being the special guest of honour here, we thought that we'd throw you in the deep end and give you the reins to do the first list of this episode of Side A on episode, I think it's 6 or 5, I can't remember. But Side A, here we go.
Okay, so you just want me to name the 3 bands and give any a bit of background, or
No, just name the 3
No.
bands and we'll have
okay,
our...
well, I've chosen 3 bands from my era, my beginning era. I first started into music many years ago, long time ago, and 2 out of those 3 bands are still active. Another one hasn't been active for quite some time, but those 3 bands are Jethro Tull, the Rolling Stones, one of my, of course, favourites, and the Beatles.
So the 2 bands are still active, being Jethro Tull and the Beatles. Yeah. Being active is in like everyone's still listening to the Beatles for obvious reasons.
Wow, okay, that's a big list. That's
So they were 3 bands formed in the 60s.
Yes.
And as I said, 2 out of 3. I'll let the listeners and viewers guess which one is not.
Was the Beatles formed in the 60s or the 50s?
60. Well, I think they met.
Well,
John
yes,
and
well, yeah,
McCartney.
okay.
I think
They weren't a
I think
skiffle.
the
Oh
Beatles-
yeah, they weren't a skiffle band.
Yeah, they first got together about 62
Yeah.
or something, as did the Rolling Stones. Jethro Tull a bit
That's
later.
what I
about
always thought. They were
68.
about 64 when they, or 62 really, when they were forming,
Yeah.
type of thing. But what was it, 64 was their first album? Stones was.
No.
Oh, no, the Stones. Oh, jeez, I don't know. I think it was. Yeah, they were performing certainly in '62, I think, because they're just doing their 60th kind of celebratory tour.
Nice.
Okay,
I bet
but
you
wait, the
none of
answer to one of the bands who's still around.
I bet
alright?
you none of the members or anyone still involved with the Rolling Stones thought 60 years later they'd still be performing.
Did you think they would be? Did you even turn your mind to it?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
admit. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people hoped that the Beatles were going to reunite, but
Yeah, I know. Well, it's going to be slightly difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, they've done the closest
Although
thing.
there's
Well,
only 2 original members left in the Rolling Stones, so
yeah, that's true. But they're the one. Yeah, it'd be like
Paul and Ringo.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna.
Would it still be the same though?
No.
No.
Well,
Could you get as a guitarist? If that
Paul
was the case?
does well,
Well-
I think, in his solo work, and
Yeah.
I'm told his performances are still very good,
Okay.
and he's still got a great voice.
Yeah, Ringo still does his all-star band.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I think Ringo just came out with another album. Just
probably.
recently.
He probably. Yeah,
Proves how
awesome.
successful his solo career is.
Yeah, well, they've all got kids who are basically just doing their own things.
We got grandkids. I think,
Grandkids,
as well.
mate.
Oh, jeez, Christ.
Well,
Yeah.
Ringo's turned
Ringo's
80.
Yeah.
last year.
Doesn't look his age. He's doing quite well for himself. But I guess.
Yeah, he's famous for he's known to his grandkids as the narrator in Thomas the Tank Engine.
correct.
Surprisingly to them, he was in a band called the Beatles.
Yeah, that's right. That's why they think he's famous.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's probably his best work. No,
I always loved that quote of John Lennon's. You know when.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a misquote.
Yeah, I believe it is, but supposedly he was asked, "Is Ringo the best drummer in the world?" And he said, "I'm not even sure he's the best drummer."
Him and Beatles.
It was evidently Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
I think he did drum a lot.
Yeah.
Some of the latter albums.
But he did some of the more difficult solos as well,
On
guitar
Abbey Road.
solos.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, he did. I think it's Drive My Car. I think
Paul McCartney played the guitar, the lead.
the solo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's pretty technical.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I think that's right. You might have to fact check me.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like
not
a
heavily
dick.
involved in the Beatles. Like Revolver was a great album to me. I thought that's probably the album that I know and have heard of. Besides,
Heard of?
played in its entirety.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Obviously, I've heard a lot of their singles and stuff like that, but outside the singles, that's the only Beatles album I really have played through. I'm sorry to say, people would probably be shocked, but
I'm sorry for you.
but no, people probably know where I'm going with that one. But no, Beatles are, to me, they always were a band who were at the right place at the right time. I always saw them as that. You know, they were an okay band. They're a bit above average in the musicianship, but to me, right place, right time in the way of influencing of future music and all the rest of that. And I guess, like that, one of the guys on Facebook, he says all the time, you can't tell me otherwise. You know, this is my opinion, and you can't tell me otherwise. The Beatles were at the right place, the right time. That's it.
I'm going to tell you otherwise.
Tell
No,
me otherwise.
no, I can't get. You can't change. You can't tell a leopard to change its spots. But anyway, that's just it's unfortunate for you. I mean, if you've only heard Revolver, are you really entitled to that opinion? You're entitled to whatever opinion you want, I suppose.
I guess it's like arseholes. Everyone's got one.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know. Look, what's your favourite album? I guess of the Beatles.
White Album,
Sorry,
probably the White Album.
White Album.
Yeah. It just sounds like every other rock album that ever came after it. I think. Wait, how do you pick a favorite though?
I guess so. Yeah, with a band like that, it's very difficult for sure. But
Well, can someone please enlighten me about Jethro Tull? Because I've actually never heard a Jethro Tull song. This is gonna be quite easy for me. Maybe I would if I knew it. Maybe if I heard it, I'd know. But I've heard of them. It's like a proto metal thing, isn't it?
Please enlighten him.
Well, Jethro Tull were filmed by the flautist Ian Anderson, flautist and vocalist.
Yeah.
In the late '60s.
What's a flautist?
Flute player.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah. I thought it was pronounced
imagery just
flutist.
came
He plays a flute.
Oh, yeah. I thought that's okay. Right.
Flawed that.
Yeah.
Plays a flute, and he was famous for standing on one leg on stage with his other leg
Right.
tucked up, and he had this long mane of reddish coloured hair and playing the flute and then singing and so on.
That's metal.
And they were probably, they were more. They were not sure if I'd describe them as metal. They certainly had some bits of.
Sounds like Ed Sheeran's grandfather.
But they said they were certainly a progressive band.
Yeah.
Call it,
well, they did have it. They were
and they had
fairly
Thick as a Brick,
progressive.
one of their albums, which was in one song, one track.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, both
Okay.
sides.
Yeah.
And it was an
Experimental
LP,
sort of
came
stuff.
out, Yeah.
Was that before King Crimson?
probably.
I mean, every progressive nutter out there will go, "Oh, King Crimson, they're the beginning and the best." Shut up! They had one album, that's it.
Yeah, and I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't know whether Jethro Tull or Ian Anderson would take, on the mantra of being a real progressive band. But anyway,
he just wrote music for being for the sake of music,
and of course
lumped into that
because he was the star front man, and in fact, only after a few short years, the only original member. People used to think his name was Jethro.
I was going to ask you, is his name Jethro Tull?
I like Jethro Tull.
Yeah,
I saw him.
yeah,
huh?
yeah. One of those. Yeah,
and he had a long-term lead guitarist with him, Martin Barr, who was very good, but he's left the fold a few years back. And I think they may not be the best of friends. I think it might have been circumstances. I'm not sure, but Jethro Tull, they had a famous album out, Aqualung.
Yeah. I've heard of. Yeah, I know that. I can think of the covers. That cool.
The old guy.
Yeah, the old guy. Yeah.
And had a brilliant track
song
on that called Locomotive Breath.
Okay.
They always do Aqualung and Locomotive Breath.
Yeah.
I've seen Jethro Tull live, but I've also seen Ian Anderson as a solo artist.
Nice.
Ian Anderson only in the last few years. I saw him at the Sydney Opera House.
Nice.
And he had one I think, of the touring musicians from Jethro Tull with him. But Jethro Tull hadn't toured or performed or recorded, I think, for some time at that stage.
Probably don't need to, given that they've got a storied career and long ago.
And,
what's the point in trying to top it?
He's had a couple of good solo albums, and but Jethro Tull reformed last year and released a new album.
Oh, nice. And what's your verdict on that?
Well, do you want me to go into that now? I mean, it's part of the... Yeah, okay. I think they... do you want me to tell you which category I think they should belong to? The live listener?
Oh, no, just tell me before we should probably ask you that.
Just if that album,
what are we doing here?
Good or bad.
Yeah,
I didn't particularly like it.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay.
I thought Ian Anderson should have stuck to his solo career.
Yeah, right.
There's no original members.
Okay.
They're all fairly
Wakeman or
new.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean the band. Look, let's face it. Jethro Tull has always been Ian Anderson.
Of course.
He's the sole songwriter. There might have been one or two other contributions, but he was the primary songwriter. I think his wife or something at the time might have co-written some of the material. That might have been for tax reasons. I'm not sure.
So not like Yoko Ono. Yoko Ono's contributions were artistic.
Yeah.
Well, there was also the other fact about Jethro Tull, they beat Metallica.
Yeah, that's when Lars said, I want to thank, at some point, when Metallica won a Grammy, said, I want to thank Jethro Tull for not releasing an album this year.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So it's like I think they beat them on one, from memory, 88 or something.
Oh, okay.
89, 88 Grammys. And Jethro Tull won it, and everyone's like, this is bullshit. This is a heavy metal band, and then this is Jethro Tull. What are they?
Right.
One of their favourite albums that I liked was Minstrel in the Gallery. In the Gallery.
What year is that?
75, 76.
Yeah, so like heyday sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Progressive was at its height as well.
Yeah. Sorry?
Progressive in general was at its height as well.
I mean, that album was probably more... It was almost a bit of heavy metal. It had a really good guitar break in Minstrel in the song. Minstrel in the Gallery, not the song. But it also had almost Celtic guitar, like English, British folk.
Nice.
And
I remember Genesis as well around the time they were playing Fifth of the Firth and some of the early stuff.
When I saw Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson did come out. In fact, it's funny, when I saw him, he's quite a humorous guy, like a lot of British people, and he came out on his own, sat on the stage, and everyone's going, yeah, and he starts strumming the guitar, and he says, "Oh, hi," he says, "I'm the support act for Jethro Tull."
Nice. And everywhere he got booed, everyone's like, "Good Jethro Tull."
And then he did a song, an acoustic song on the guitar, because he played the guitar as well. He switched to flute, which kind of made them, in the early stage.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, stand out, right?
From guitar to start playing flute, and that made them stand out a little bit from the others. And of course he uses it to great. It's very well used when you listen to the albums. When I saw him also, he had a bass guitarist with him who sadly has since departed this life, John Glasscock. And I remember him introducing him and said, "This is John Glasscock." He said,
"What a fucking name.
We call him Brittle Dick."
I was going to say,
Nice.
how do you not have a name like that and not get mentioned in some kind of
Yeah.
like that?
Brittle dick.
Yeah, fair enough then.
I reckon it's bullshit that there's like this sort of like Rolling Stones versus the Beatles. I mean, I just don't think that there needs to be a comparison to which one's better, or
No, that wouldn't be any fun.
but they're not the
without
same.
this.
It's not really the. I mean,
No,
until
it's not quite the same music.
no,
I
not
agree,
really. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that they were always kind of like half a year behind in terms of where they're going in terms of progression. I think the
Back in the
Beatles peaked
60s.
earlier.
Yeah, but
In the
I think the
60s
Beatles though were more middle of the road.
Yeah, well, they weren't as much rock and roll.
The Rolling Stones, they were the bad boys. They were the
Yeah,
ones-
yeah.
They used to always say, that your mother would wish, that her daughter would marry Paul McCartney, but never Mick Jagger. Or
Yeah, of
Keith
course.
Richards. Keep
Yeah.
away from those bad boys.
Yeah, it's probably
Bob
just-
Dylan described them on his latest album.
Really?
Bad boys, those bad boys are Rolling
It's,
Stones.
it's actually funny because Ozzy Osbourne described them as, considering where the Beatles grew up.
Liverpool.
Liverpool, it was a dangerous area back then compared to where the Rolling Stones grew up, which was a bit more upper class.
Well,
And they
Jagger was
said-
middle class. I mean, you listen to
Yeah.
him talk and he sounds like a cockney, but, he went to the London School
Yeah, I
of
know.
Economics.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
Well, no, that's
because Ringo was drinking at 8 years old. Getting into like street fight. They're rough guys. John and Ringo.
Ringo and
particularly.
his second wife had to give up drinking. They were-
Yeah.
somebody
Oh, I
said
know.
Barbara Bush.
Yeah. Well, no, they were. There was one. I think it was in Berlin maybe when someone in the audience yelled out and like they were heckling John and said he was gay or something, and he went down in the crowd and beat the shit out of him. He's a hard ass. So yeah, he's
early Axl Rose type of shit.
They
Axl Rose had his
I don't think at all. I don't think for a second that they were like like squeaky clean. Like
Oh,
no,
no,
they were
no,
hard
read
ass.
about their
But it's just a
lifestyle.
cultivated.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah,
cultivated in the media. I mean, that was their management.
I mean,
that
these-
was the
Yeah.
management and the image that they wanted to portray was different to
yeah.
what the band.
And at least until they unshackled themselves from that.
I mean, these guys are now Knights of the Empire, OBEs. And,
Yeah, I know.
Sir Paul McCartney,
Yeah.
Sir Michael Jagger.
Sir Mick. Yeah, Sir Michael. Yeah. But I don't know. I just kind of think it's artificial. I enjoy both bands more, and I don't try to.
Is Keith
like-
Richards knighted?
No.
Oh god! Could you imagine
I'm
him
not-
being knighted?
I'm not sure whether he was offered and he said no.
Hmm.
I know he was quite critical of Mick Jagger for accepting.
Yeah,
He
right.
said, that's all establishment,
Yeah.
That's establishment.
Yeah.
Oh, no, what about Her Majesty's Satanic Services? Come on, Mick, what are you doing?
I mean, those guys are all. Well, I think Paul McCartney slips into the billionaire class.
Yeah, he's 1.2. I think it's the richest musician on the
in the
planet.
world. Yeah.
I think followed by
Are you
Bruce.
sure? Dre?
Oh no, sorry, Kanye would be
Dr. Dre though, because
maybe. Oh yeah,
the Beats by Dre. There's a whole thing.
Bruce Springsteen's pretty rich. It's got
Yeah,
half
he just
a
sold-
billion dollars.
Yeah, he sold his catalogue for like 500 million.
Yeah, right.
so.
Well, okay. Bit overpriced, but yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I just listened to it online.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't have to buy it.
No, you wouldn't. Just YouTube with the ads, whatever.
But look, I mean, I guess when it comes to the Rolling Stones versus the Beatles thing, like you said, you're
Oh,
right.
God, now we've literally turned it into this, but now it's turning into a which one's
It was
better.
always that, according to the fans and everything.
No, it wasn't.
I know it's not. I know what you're getting at, though.
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
The
completely
Rolling Stones more
different
rhythm and
things.
blues.
Yeah.
And,
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, compared to the more
both
pop
bands,
rock
though,
sounds.
made a lot of fame and fortune, and I think set the trend for singer-songwriters in bands.
Yeah, but yeah, because everyone was
Before
doing
the
covers
Beatles,
before that.
Most bands were paying. There were.
Yeah.
But basically, the record companies had factories where Carole King and Jerry Goffin and all those sat there and wrote songs for other bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were getting pretty much just singing Phil
I
Spector's
mean,
songs.
Elvis never, wrote his. He might have written one or two songs. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, not
Early stuff, I
but
think.
not the good one.
yeah, he did wrong.
Yeah,
Social, the more action.
yeah, but
Yeah, all the bands of the 50s and early 60s,
Yeah.
kind of stuff, they were performing other people's material.
yeah,
Or covering other people's
covering other
material.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Of
a
course,
big
yeah.
thing. You'll see a lot on Santana.
I shouldn't say
like
all,
I said.
some of them
Mm.
probably did
Well,
write
yeah.
one or two of their own, but
But a
they
lot.
were performers, they weren't
Yes.
singers.
Well, I guess
They weren't
Brian
songwriters.
Wilson though would be in that category too.
But that was the 60s, though. I mean,
Yeah.
he was heavily influenced by the Beatles.
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah. But yeah, they obviously did covers as well when they.
Pet Sounds, I think, was their attempt to emulate Sgt. Pepper's, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that like when he heard Sergeant Pepper, he nearly died. Like, rightly.
Went for 10 years to try and do so.
Well, Paul McCartney played him She's Leaving Home on piano when he wrote it, and he just cried for a long time.
Wow.
And probably part of that was probably because he's like, shit, how do I come up with something against this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then their 1980s comeback was even worse. So.
The Beach Boys.
But
No, they've got a good song. They've got a good song that they wrote in the late 70s. I can't remember what it's called now.
Do It Again?
Yeah, that's an awesome song. They do sound like they're a lot older and more tired.
I did see the Beach Boys, and they opened up with that track.
Did they really?
Yep.
Nice. When did you see them?
A couple of years ago.
Okay.
So, 10, 15.
Yeah.
They did a big
Okay.
superannuation tour.
yeah.
They got then they got Brian back into the band for that tour.
Oh, nice. I know Mitch saw Brian Wilson, but it was just Brian Wilson.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw Beach Boys with Brian Wilson. In fact, because he's a fairly big and not the best healthiest guy, and he was when we were there and getting this was at Homebush, 17,000 people, and I'm looking, and there's a guy sitting on the side of the stage, and this is they're still setting up and doing things. I thought, that's Brian Wilson, and it was
Really.
Yeah, he was just sitting there because. Either he didn't want to talk to the other guys backstage.
Yeah,
See
right.
Mike Love,
I know.
They make him talk through lawyers.
Yeah,
And he was just sitting there, and there were obviously some people in the crowd. Like, hey Brian, and they because at the front seats, they weren't too far from him. So he got up and ambled over, started signing.
That's amazing. Cool. Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
And then even when he's sitting out songs, sometimes you see a band and someone's sitting out, so they'll go back stage for a snort or a smoke,
or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
Well, these days, it's probably more for a leak.
Yeah.
Some of the bands like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Oh, you have to empty the catheter.
I can only do 40 minutes.
Yeah. I need my dialysis machine after 38.
But they did my two favourite, and I'm not a big Beach Boys fan. I went, I took Judy, and they did Sail on Sailor as well.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
A really nice, smooth song.
Yeah. How do they sound now?
Oh, they sounded pretty good. I mean, Mike Love and the other guys. I mean, they were still touring as the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Brian Wilson's chagrin,
Yeah.
And but Carl and Dennis, the other Wilson brothers, had gone.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I guess
Live fast, die young.
To some of the other bands of that era that we're seeing live, like we've seen the Rolling Stones live.
Yeah.
How do you think that compared?
Oh, they're consummate performers. I mean, their material. I mean, they're mainly performing stuff from the 3 or 4 albums, and I think we touched on this last time as well. But even some of their more recent material, they did a blues album recently, which is all covers.
Yeah, cool.
Lonesome, whatever.
Lonesome in Blue or something.
Yeah, Lonesome in Blue. All covers. They do have a couple of EPs out now.
They do. They're bringing out EPs, which is kind of either rehashed or 4-track.
Whatever.
Oh, cool.
And that's the way I reckon.
Street Fighting Man.
Yeah, sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, but it's also got some new tracks as well. So some of them are. Here's a new song with maybe Street Fighter re-edited 16 times.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like that's the way, to me, how those musicians should be writing music. Instead of trying to record 12 tracks for a new album that no one's clearly going to give a shit about, put all that focus and attention in one song, and just put it out there.
I mean, they got a band of brilliant musicians. I mean, when we saw them, unfortunately, Bobby Keys was too ill to perform with them. There was another sax player, and he died about a month later.
Yeah.
He was really ill. But Bobby Keys was, a great sax player who worked with many great musicians, Joe Cocker and
we caught most of the good lineup there. There was three of the originals.
Well, yeah, Charlie Watts, who we only lost last year.
Yep.
And of course,
Charlie Watts. Mick
Taylor. Was Mick Taylor with him? Did he come out to do "Can't You Hear Me Knocking"? Yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah.
He was there because they were smoking on stage.
Yeah, they were.
They're just like Keith and Mick Taylor just smoking on stage. Yeah, fuck it.
Is it how come like no one in the audience is allowed to do that?
I know.
Yeah. This is a non-smoking venue.
But you're not going to evict him, I suppose. Hey, you off the stage.
Yeah. So
the first time I saw the Rolling Stones, Mick Taylor was their lead guitarist before Ron Wood.
Oh, nice.
Joined them, and he's a very good guitar player. But he'd fallen on bad times and hard times.
Wait, was it Mick Taylor or was it Ron Wood?
Ronnie Wood, yeah,
I think
Ronnie
it was
Wood.
Ronnie Wood that we might have seen with.
Oh, Ronnie Wood.
It was, yeah, it
it
was.
He's been with
No,
them.
but Mick Taylor, you're right. Mick Taylor did
He
join
came
them.
on as a guest artist, I think, to do
Yeah.
Can't You Hear Me Knocking, which was an album from, it's just a track from Sticky Fingers
Love that
Yeah,
track.
nice.
that he
One of my
was
favourite
on,
ones.
that he was on that and performed for that album. But yeah, Bobby Keys wasn't with them. But I mean, they've got who was it? Bernard Lavelle. The guy who's their main song arranger, music arranger.
Oh, he's been there for decades.
He's worked with a lot of great bands, including the Allman Brothers and Little Feat, and I think so on. And
Yeah.
Bernie Lavelle.
I can't really recall,
yeah.
but he's the new percussionist, is he?
No, he's a keyboard player.
Keyboardist, sorry.
Yeah, and so he's evidently their arranger. Like he's the one
Really?
who said, "Well, this is what we'll play, and we'll do it this way." And
Oh,
all that
sweet.
kind of stuff. So he's very.
Yeah,
Involved.
so he kind of almost took
He's
the
not even
role.
a member of the band.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not included in the photo.
He's their muse. It sounds like he kind of played the role at the I can't remember his name. The guy who was in it in the '60s and got booted because he was a menace.
Brian Jones.
Yes, Brian Jones. He kind of had that sort of role, didn't he? Sort of like the
He wanted it. Yeah, but I mean,
yeah. He was kind of a
Jagger
bit hit and
Richards
miss.
were the
Yeah,
principal songwriter.
yeah, yeah.
And then I think Brian Jones became so
Addled.
addled, and unreliable.
Inconsistent, unreliable, fighting with
Turn
everyone,
up,
and
fighting,
yeah. Sounded terrible. I couldn't perform a lot of the time.
So he joined
Unfortunately,
the 27 Club.
yeah, unfortunately.
God bastard. But no, there's a lot of albums that, of course, the Stones have had. There's a lot of shit ones they've also had. But
That's a great thing about the Beatles. It's all good.
there's a plethora of choice there.
Choice, yeah. Well, it's hard.
Like to be playing out or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess. Look, I mean, do you have a decision yet on yours, Dos, on regard to the?
Yeah, for sure. I can erase Jethro Tull, given I'm happily because I've never heard any of their songs before, so I don't want to listen to them because if I might change my mind, then I'm going to have to revisit the list.
No, I gathered that one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't delete the Beatles, or I can't never listen to them again. As much as
I think I'd have to kick.
I mean, but then again, I mean, think about it logically. Like, I mean, you can't hear them really play some of their really good stuff in the psychedelic-ish stuff live anyway. It's impossible to recreate.
Who's that?
The Beatles. I mean, sorry, I should have said that. It's obvious what I'm talking about. But no, I mean, if you couldn't play Sgt. Pepper live, it would be impossible. So, on that basis, it would be a waste to hear them live potentially.
What about like that last concert they did on the rooftop? Like that would have been sick to just be.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been. That was good.
They complained about the noise, evidently.
Yeah.
They called the police.
Yeah, and the
Well, they
police
were
said.
there. They were shutting it down, weren't they?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think they did. Yeah, I hope we passed the audition.
We passed the audition.
Yeah. But no, But yeah, that was because they're newer-ish numbers on their last on Get Back.
Yeah, a bit more guitar based.
Yeah, they kind of went back to basics sort of thing. Yeah. But no,
the Rolling Stones and the Beatles.
I'd have to do. I mean, like Rolling Stones, I have not seen live. I don't think for whatever reason I couldn't make it that night. I'd have to see them live, and keep the Beatles. But I mean, it would be like a devastation not to hear their music again. So thankfully, this is a hypothetical exercise.
No, fair enough then.
No offense to Jethro Tull.
No.
It's not me. It's not you. Sorry, it's me, Jethro, Mr. Tull.
For me, see, this is a weird list, I guess, because I could stick either Jethro Tull or the Beatles on Erased. I just don't care about the Beatles music. I'm sorry, people out there.
You do. Oh, sorry, I'm out of here.
And that concludes the episode, everybody. No, but I can't see the band really in that light. Do I want to erase them though? Yes, I would. I would erase the Beatles. I think they're probably the most overrated band in history. Yeah. I do believe that they are the most
Create
overrated.
some hate mail.
Oh, 100%. But, might win over some other new fans. Hey, if you're doing like the Beatles, subscribe. So, but no, look, I do think,
one extra subscriber.
yeah, that one guy.
It's almost like damning motherhood.
Yeah. It's like for every one subscriber you lose 1,000. Yeah, well done, Chili.
Forever in the 50s. So, that's subscriber count, by the way.
At hotmail.com. Is it where you address your hate?
No, it'll be livelisten@gmail.
Oh, you idiot.
Gmail. Address it to that, and I'll put it straight to my junk email. No, I do. Look, you know what? Fuck it. To avoid the hate, I'll put Jethro Tull on Erased. I'd see Beatles live. Because fuck it, why not? That'd be interesting, I guess. Like the rooftop concert would be kind of cool to go to.
That's
Just
more
because it's probably-
sensible for a decision.
Probably because it's one of the most iconic concerts in history. You know?
Well, they had it recorded down in the basement of the studio. They had a recording. They had the tape
Still,
players
to
going.
be there though would be something of like a feather in a cap scenario. You know, it's like saying
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, or I went to see Woodstock. You know,
Oh,
'69. That type of shit. And you know, I guess it'd be fairly interesting to see it in that capacity. I can't get rid of Rolling Stones at all. I love
fair
their
enough.
music. And like you, when it comes to the Beatles, I just have to listen to their music. I keep going back. I don't like their shit pre-68 really, except for a few tracks, but I could listen to pretty much all of the 70s up until about 1983 almost. All the albums from that. What about you in that list? What would you do?
Yeah, look, I'd like to see the Beatles live, but more in a modern context. You know, not just a 45-minute from the street looking up.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Is that Paul?
Yeah. No, I know. It's just the sound engineer.
You know, it'd be good to go and see them live now.
If you could hear them over the screaming, of course.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
I think those days are past. I don't know whether you get, a whole lot of teeny boppers.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
Lungs off it,
Yeah, you just get a bunch of old ladies screaming.
It's been hard to got oxygen tanks and wheelchairs.
Yeah.
I've seen the Rolling Stones a number of times, and I've seen Mick Jagger solo, so I listened to their music.
Yeah, of course. That's not surprising.
Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull's time has long since passed.
What's Jethro Tull done to us to deserve this sort of treatment?
I mean, they had a great track out called "Living in the Past," and
ironic.
And that was really good with the flute and everything. And I remember I used to go regularly to a pub not far from my place called the Big Wheel at Chullora, which has now changed its name to the Palms or something. And it's,
more exotic,
more expensive, exotic, and it was just a pub in a bloody car park before.
Yeah.
And it always seemed when I went up to the, I think it might have been called the Piano Bar, the fancy bar at the end. When we got sick of playing snooker or pool down the other end and treading in the beer and the blood. I'd go up, and often my aunt and uncle Carol and Terry were there at the other end with their friends because they used to drink there. They worked not too far away. And it seems like almost every time I walked in, I don't know whether someone did this on purpose, but on the jukebox, someone had put on "Living in the Past."
Really?
It's just so. Just to remind me. Every
It was
time I
only
get outside,
Carol,
I just think of
for
that
sure.
guy walking in through there.
Nice.
And of course, you bought little pots of beer. It wasn't the spoon. Or the middies. It was fancier glasses, and you paid about $1 more than down the public bar.
Right. So like $1.10.
You weren't allowed to bring a beer from the public bar up to the piano
of
bar.
course. Yeah. No, that's cool.
But-
It's got a good nostalgia factor for you.
But I have a little twist, I think, in the Raising Jethro Tull. I recognise that they had a great body of work. I'm disappointed in their latest album. I listened to it and I think, why? It's
Is it
kind of
necessary?
Because I think Ian Anderson is a solo artist, even though if you listen to some of Ian Anderson's solo stuff, you say, is that Jethro Tull or is that Ian Anderson? Because they were the one and the same.
Yeah.
When I saw Ian Anderson solo, of course, he did a whole lot of he had to do Jethro Tull stuff. They would have thrown chairs at him otherwise, including quite a lengthy version of "Thick as a Brick."
Right.
The full 45 minutes. 15-minute version of it, which was good.
Okay.
And well done, and about long enough, because I did think Thick as a Brick. I mean, I listened to the album a couple of times, and you get through side one and go, oh, a lot of filler.
Yeah. He's accidentally put the needle toward the end.
As you get a lot of those prog rock bands, they kind of think, I mean, they're almost worse than jazz musicians sometimes in terms of just, just playing on one chord for 25 minutes.
But now we'll try it in five fills, Now we're going to
I would have raised Jethro Tull, but in the hope that Ian Anderson would then be back doing his solo material. I think that he was, I think he was doing. He wasn't prolific as a solo artist.
In which case,
He only had a few solo albums out, but I thought the last solo album, which I can't remember the name of, but that was about the time I went to see him, was quite a good album. But this Jethro Tull album I listened to it and I thought, I don't think I can listen to that again.
Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, what a shame. Yeah.
And they had a lot of forgettable albums. In the
Yeah,
80s,
right.
90s.
It's like, well,
Like,
yeah.
like most musicians.
It's like-
What's the oil, which
Yeah.
I bought on
Yeah.
vinyl, you know.
If you had to cleanse your like auditory palate and listen to some nice narration for Thomas the Tank Engine.
That's it.
So yeah, that's my.
Yeah, well, fair. Okay, you guys had the same rankings or same allocations.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah.
reasons, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well, me and the backpedaling also helps, so that, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. You
I mean, I couldn't go without the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All-time
Yeah, of
favourites
course.
And Beggars Banquet, Sticky Fingers.
Yeah, I know.
Exile
Yeah.
on Main Street.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of
I
course.
like their live stuff, and I particularly like seeing them live. You know, like in
Yeah.
terms of
Well, I guess you had the benefit of having seen him before too.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that might have factored a lot into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's always
Yeah.
the
I've
point.
never seen the Beatles. I've never seen any
Yeah.
solo member of the Beatles.
Yeah, probably won't be able to.
But that's what makes
Not
this
the
game
Beatles.
hard anyway, eh?
Yeah, it would be if Paul McCartney came out, I'd be like a little girl screaming.
You'd be the one screaming that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Well, he
yeah.
has
It's
come
like-
out a couple of times. Mate.
Yeah, I know.
Paramount
Yeah, I
Park,
know.
I think one time.
Yeah, I know. I at the time I was just in my anti-Paul phase and sort of like, oh yeah, Paul. But I don't know. He seems like he's a bit more of a bit more down to earth. And he gets his twilight years.
I remember
I heard
Paul
of that.
McCartney when he played Parramatta Park or the stadium there many years ago. I was working in Parramatta in a multi-storey building, and in those days the Parramatta wasn't as overbuilt as it was, and we had a view over to where it is, and you could see the crowd starting to arrive,
Oh,
and,
awesome.
things happening and all that kind of stuff. The week or 2 or 3 before that, the Queen of England, had been there
Of Australia.
I don't know, to do something, to present, to open, or
At
you know,
Parramatta
like,
Park?
yeah, not performing obviously. I mean, it wasn't Freddie Mercury in the game. It was just the big
Yeah,
crowd
yeah,
turned
yeah.
up to say, hello.
Yeah.
Invited to speak and all
That
that.
seems like a weird place.
And I was
for the
standing
Queen.
there looking out the window, and I was working with the CEO of this particular large firm, and we're on level 10, so we're fairly high up. And he said, "What's happening over there?" And I said, "What's Paul McCartney's playing there tonight?" And I said, "Look at the crowd. You can already see the traffic starting up.
Yeah.
People heading over that way." I said, "He'll draw a much bigger crowd than the Queen." and unbeknown to me, or probably was known to me, but he was a staunch royalist. And he said, "Don't be saying that in this office.
Oh,
I'm a ex-defence personnel and blah
my
blah
goodness.
blah, and I put my
Yeah.
life on the line for the
yeah.
Queen."
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh, I lost
Yeah.
my bonus.
yeah. I haven't worked a day since. Yeah.
So I
Shit.
didn't ask him if he wanted to join the Australian Republican movement.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that wouldn't have gone well.
But no, that's a great little list that you had there, was cheers to that. And that's a fantastic recording. I like that one. Thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Live Listen Erased. And make sure to tune in, stay subscribed, hit like, and a new video will be out in about 2 more weeks' time. So look forward to that one. It'll be side B.
It's only rock and roll, but I like it. Yes, I do.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Live Listen Erased. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our Chili Con Carnage crew so you can get notified for all the future videos that we put out, as we put out videos every Friday. Also, we are on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter over at Live Listen Erased, so make sure to tune in over there. And don't forget to like this video so that our manager can stay very happy.